Hello everyone, my name is Rich Keener and I'm the Village Manager for the Village of Villa Park, and today's one of the segments where I'll be talking about an upcoming board meeting's agenda. So today's segment I'll be talking about the April 13th formal board meeting for the Village of Villa Park's Board of Trustees. So let's start. So at 7 o'clock, the board meeting will be here at Village Hall at 20 South Ardmore Avenue. And as you're well aware, we're under the stay-at-home order, etc. So we're going to use the same process as we did last time. So I'm going to start with the agenda and then I'll get to the process. So number one on the agenda for Monday night, April 13th, is call to order. It's the roll call. Number two is the Pledge of Allegiance. Number three is public comments on agenda items. And folks, that's for anyone that's in the audience or that will email their comments to me and I'll read them into the public record. So number three is the village appreciates the public's patience and cooperation during these very trying times as communities across the globe attempt to reduce the spread of COVID-19, the coronavirus. Social distancing has been recommended to mitigate the spread of COVID-19. The village remains committed to a transparent and open government. Participation in this meeting is encouraged in any of the following ways. So folks, number one, you could email your questions to myself, Village Manager Keener, in advance of the meeting at rkeenerjr@invillapark.com. And then me, Manager Keener, will read the comments into the public record at the appropriate time. Number two, you can watch the meeting live on YouTube by following the Village of Villa Park or on the government access channels, Comcast Channel 6 and AT&T on Channel 99. And then three, if members of the public are interested in attending in person and are symptom-free, social distancing will be utilized to mitigate the community spread of the disease. However, per Governor Pritzker's Executive Order Number 10, all gatherings of more than 10 people are prohibited. Therefore, attendance will be monitored at the door. So folks, Village Hall will be open, the north and south doors. And as I just read, there can be only a maximum of 10 people in the meeting. So I know myself will be there and a few other staff and then members of the board. And at that point, we'll probably be very close to 10. And so if you were to come into the building, I may ask you to ask me your question and I'll answer it. Or if you want to email it quickly, I can read it into public record and we can answer it on live YouTube and Channel 99 or 6. So moving on the agenda for Monday night, April 13th, is number four. It's amendments to the agenda. Folks, that's the appropriate time for the President or Board of Trustees to modify the formal agenda for Monday night. Number five is going to be a presentation, and the presentation is going to be a discussion of the COVID-19 pandemic financial response plan. And so that'll be myself talking about the financial impacts of COVID-19 to the village's resources and the village's response to that impact. And the response will be talking about current and then projected response throughout the rest of the fiscal year. So moving on to number six, which is the consent agenda, we have 6A. We have minutes from the board meeting held on March 9th, 2020. We have 6B, which is a bill listing for the weeks of March 9th, March 23rd, March 30th, and April 3rd, 2020, in the total amount of $1,345,691.19. And then moving on to number seven, we have first reading on ordinances to be codified. So our first ordinance is an ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, amending the Village of Villa Park's municipal code as it relates to parking restrictions. So folks, the background on this particular item is that with the creation of a new village-owned parking lot at 110 South Villa Avenue and monitoring parking trends at existing parking lots on Park Boulevard and in other nearby areas, amendments to Village Code are recommended. Such changes include the imposition of overnight parking restrictions, relocation of certain handicap zones, and the deletion and addition of certain no parking zones. It is also recommended that parking zones be established in order to allow for a vehicle to park in only one space within that zone for the time allotted during one 24-hour period. So folks, a lot of the parking restrictions and changes will be in the South Villa area in that particular neighborhood. And as you're well aware, the village purchased a piece of property, 100 to 110 South Villa, and the 110 portion will be a municipal parking lot to service the existing businesses in that area. And so we need to obviously add that parking lot to our code so there'll be no overnight parking. So from 2 a.m. to 6 a.m., vehicles will not be able to park there. And then we created some parking lots on Park Boulevard, east and west of South Villa. And those parking lots also will have no parking from 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. And then some other changes in the area too, some handicap spots and things of that nature, because we'll have handicap spots inside the new municipal parking lot at 110 South Villa. And so, folks, when this is posted on our website, you can go on and take a look at the map too and look at all the different changes, etc. So it'll be there for you. So moving on to number 8, which is ordinances. We have 8A. We have an ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, amending Appendix D of the Village of Villa Park Municipal Code. So folks, the background for this item is an amendment to Section 2 of Appendix D of the Village of Villa Park Municipal Code is necessary to remain consistent with the updated Bulletin 70 rainfall data adopted by the Illinois Department of Natural Resources on January 1st, 2020. Additionally, the Federal Emergency Management Agency requires communities that participate in the National Flood Insurance Program to maintain records of improvements to all properties located in special flood hazard areas. That's the floodplain or floodway. The proposed amendment will incorporate each of these record-keeping requirements into Appendix D. So folks, we're going to be updating our stormwater ordinance, Appendix D, and mandating that we need to keep track of all the improvements to certain homes in the floodway or floodplain, and then also updating the rainfall data section. And of course that was newly enacted and revised January 1st, 2020. So moving on to 8B for Monday night, April 13th, is an ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, establishing temporary executive powers pursuant to Chapter 8, Article 3, Sections 8-301 to 308 of the Village of Villa Park Municipal Code, 65 ILCS 511 1-6 of the Illinois Municipal Code, and 20 ILCS 3305-11 of the Illinois Emergency Management Act. So folks, the background on this particular item is that it is the policy of the Village of Villa Park that the village be prepared to address any emergencies. Therefore, in response to the new and significant outbreak of the coronavirus, also known as COVID-19, in the United States, pursuant to Chapter 8, Article 3, Sections 8-301 to 8308 of the Village of Villa Park Municipal Code, and 65 ILCS 511 1-6 of the Illinois Municipal Code, and 20 ILCS 3305-11 of the Illinois Emergency Management Agency Act, it is necessary and appropriate to authorize the village president to exercise extraordinary power and authority by executive order during the state of disaster emergency to ensure that the effects of COVID-19 are mitigated and minimized and that residents and visitors in the village remain safe and secure. This ordinance extends the temporary executive powers contained in Ordinance 4141, approved by the Village Board on March 23, 2020, until such time that the Village Board can reconvene in an open meeting. So folks, our next meeting is April 27th. So on that last paragraph, until such time that the Village Board can reconvene in an open meeting. So what we're asking to do here is extend Ordinance 4141, those powers contained in that ordinance, until April 27th. And folks, the COVID-19, the coronavirus, is a fluid and dynamic pandemic affecting municipalities, state governments, and the federal government in all sorts of different ways, not only from the health aspect and illness, but also financially. And this ordinance allows extraordinary powers to be placed with Village President Bolthuis, purchasing power and staffing power and cooperation power. And folks, this is very needed to be able to respond to this virus, to be able to purchase PPE equipment, including N95 masks, to purchase other equipment to sanitize our ambulances, our police vehicles, some other offices that are being used quite a bit, and things of that nature, so that we stay healthy and be able to respond to this virus, whether it's by police, whether it's by fire, the medics, or whether it's by sewer and water, or other staffing as well. So it's very important. And I hope you're staying healthy as well, and staying at home, staying healthy, maybe getting out and taking some walks. I know it's pretty difficult to stay at home all the time. So I hope that you're doing those things, and I hope everything's going well for you. So moving on to number 9 is resolutions. We have 9A. We have a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, approving a license agreement for a portion of a right-of-way between the Village of Villa Park and the owner of property located at 227 West School Street. So folks, the background on this particular item is that the property owner at 227 West School Street wishes to remove and replace the existing fence that encroaches onto the public right-of-way by approximately 3 feet along the public sidewalk on Michigan Avenue. A license agreement is necessary to grant the property owner permission to construct and maintain the fence. So folks, this property owner has a fence on village property, and that's fine as long as he has a license agreement. And inside the license agreement, it's his responsibility, the property owners, to maintain the fence. And if the village needs to access any type of utilities underneath that fence, then the village has the right to remove that fence, and then the property owner, if he so chooses, can reinstall the fence. But the village, through the license agreement, reserves the right to maintain our utilities in that area. So moving on to 9B for Monday night, April 13th, is a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, approving a license agreement for a portion of alley right-of-way between the Village of Villa Park and the owner of the property located at 1141 South Cornell Parkway. So I'm going to switch pages here. Folks, the background on this item is that the property owner located at 1141 South Cornell Parkway wishes to remove and replace the existing fence located in the middle of the alley right-of-way adjacent to his property. A license agreement is necessary to grant the property owner permission to construct and maintain the fence. So folks, this is very similar to the item I just read a moment ago. So again, we have a property owner located at 1141 South Cornell Parkway wishing to maintain a fence located in the village's property. And so with the license agreement, the property owner can maintain that particular fence in good condition in the village's right-of-way. So moving on to 9C for Monday night is a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, establishing the fees for the village's swimming pool for 2020. So folks, the background on this particular item is that pool pass rates must be finalized by a resolution and approved by the Board of Trustees. It is recommended, with the support of the Parks and Recreation Advisory Commission, that a fee increase of 10% for season passes and $1 for daily admission be approved. This increase is a direct result of the state's mandated minimum wage increase. So folks, I can't believe we're already talking about pool rates and it's still April. So yes, the state has increased the minimum wage, and our pool happens to employ a lot of high school students and things of that nature that are paid minimum wage, and as a direct result of the increase in the minimum wage will increase the pool rates, not really have much of a choice there. So, and it won't be long and the pool hopefully will be open and the COVID-19 pandemic will be over, and we'll be moving through and past all this fluid and dynamic situation. So moving on to 9D for Monday night, we have a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, approving an engineering services agreement with Christopher B. Burke Engineering, Ltd. of Rosemont, Illinois, for Phase 2 design engineering of the 3rd Avenue Improvement Project, which is Holly to Division, in an amount not to exceed $66,700. So folks, the background on this particular item is that the village has been awarded a Community Development Block Grant funding for the 3rd Avenue Improvement Project, Holly to Division, which involves the installation of a new separate storm sewer from approximately 250 feet north of Holly Court that will tie into the existing storm sewer along Division Street, in addition to roadway surfacing. This resolution will approve a contract with Christopher B. Burke Engineering, Limited, for Phase 2 design engineering of the project. Funding for the design work is budgeted in the Street Improvement Fund, which is non-referendum, Water Supply Fund, and Wastewater Fund sewer separation. So folks, this particular project, which is the 3rd Avenue Improvement Project, was awarded the Community Development Block Grant along with North Harvard. And so North Harvard's going to be done this year, and then 3rd Avenue Improvement Project will be done next year. So we're going to finish up the design, and then boom, in probably the spring of 2021, that project will start. And very excited to receive a grant for Harvard and for 3rd Avenue. And those are pretty good sized grants. If you remember, they were $400,000 a piece. So for 3rd Avenue, it's a new separate storm sewer and roadway resurfacing, so kind of a neat project. So moving on to number 10 for Monday night, April 13th, is public comments on non-agenda items. So folks, that's the appropriate time for anyone in the audience to come to the podium and be recognized by the village president and comment on non-agenda items, and also to probably obviously send me an email that at the appropriate time I could read into public record. So again, the village appreciates the public's patience and cooperation during these very trying times as communities across the globe attempt to reduce the spread of COVID-19, also known as the coronavirus. Social distancing has been recommended to mitigate the spread of COVID-19. The village remains committed to a transparent and open government. Participation in this meeting is encouraged in any of the following ways. And so number one, the first way, you can email your questions to me, Village Manager Keener, in advance of the meeting at rkeehnerjr@invillapark.com, and then I will read the comments into the public record at the appropriate time. Or number two, you can watch the meeting live on YouTube by following the Village of Villa Park, or on the government access channels. You have Comcast Channel 6 to view and AT&T Channel 99. And then number three, if members of the public are interested in attending in person, and are symptom-free, social distancing will be utilized to mitigate the community spread of the disease. However, per Governor Pritzker's Executive Order Number 10, all gatherings of 10 people are prohibited, of 10 or more, I should say, are prohibited. Therefore, attendance will be monitored at the door. So, folks, the Village Hall will be unlocked, as I mentioned earlier. So, the south door will be unlocked, the north door will be unlocked with the elevator. And as I mentioned earlier, myself and some other staff will be in attendance. And then I'm not sure how many board trustees will be in attendance, but we'll be very close to 10, I'm sure. So if anyone happens to come to the building, come upstairs, I'll probably ask if they're symptom-free. Do you have a fever? Have you had a cough? Have you traveled lately? If those answers are no, you can come in. If there's less than 10, if there's more than 10, or 10 I should say, then I'll ask for your question. Or maybe you can step downstairs in the finance department. We have a remote terminal computer that you can email your question to me or handwrite it, and then I can read it into the public record and answer it at that time as well. But we do have to adhere to the executive order of 10 or less in attendance, and still we want to be transparent. We want to have open government, so still want to be able to have a public meeting, get some things done, answer all your questions, and it's not an easy thing. It's a very fluid and dynamic situation, as you're well aware of. And so we'll get through this together, and hopefully within the next few weeks we'll have the order lifted, and we'll be able to enjoy our lives to the fullest and move forward. So hopefully that's soon. Moving on to number 11 for Monday night is the Village Clerk's Report. Number 12 is the Village Trustees' Report. Number 13 is the Village President's Report. Number 14 is my report, the Village Manager's Report. Number 15 would be adjournment. And then again, our next meeting is Monday, April 27th, right here at Village Hall. So folks, please stay healthy. Please stay at home. Follow Executive Order Number 10, and we can get through this all together, and to look forward to a great spring and a nice summer, etc., nice and healthy, and having some fun just getting through all this. So again, my name is Rich Keener. It's my honor to be the village manager for the Village of Villa Park. Take care.